Yo, pull up a chair, let the real talk begin. Faith on the table where the brothers lock in. Life gets heavy, but we stand our ground. Truth in the room when the circle comes round. No mask, no front, just real man here. Talking about faith through the doubt and the fear. From the grind of the week to the lessons we share. Welcome to the men's round table, pull up a chair. Men's round table series, step inside. Real men, real faith where the truths collide. Voices at the table where the stories get shared. Welcome to the men's round table, pull up a chair.
Welcome back to the Men's Roundtable Series Spotlight. I'm your host, Mr. U. If you're watching for the very first time, thanks for making us part of your week. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and of course, you can find all of our shows across all social media and podcast listening platforms. Thanks again for listening. As you know, we have a Men's Roundtable Series podcast every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a panel of men from around the country who are talking about issues that are germane to men. We're enjoying what we're doing. It's growing in popularity, and we're helping men, which is really exciting. This show is a microcosm of that. This is an opportunity for us to kind of help men rebuild from the inside out. And we have a guest today, author of the book, Autism Sucks, Finding Hope in the Chaos. Paul Voss is with us. Paul, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here.
Same here, man. Same here. All right. Well, normally we have a an all-male audience. That's who we have been focusing on with this show. We have people who trickle in who are not male that want to drop questions in the comments. So we'll answer those live as we see those, if they're relevant to the conversation, of course. But you got an outstanding story, man. I want to get into it a little bit with the time that we have, man. You're the dad of 8 kids, man. And your youngest was diagnosed with autism about 3.5 years ago. You're making a baseball team, man, with reserves, brother. I don't. This is incredible, man. But tell me about your life, man. What kind of experiences caused you to write this book, man? Let's get into it a little bit.
Yeah, when my daughter was diagnosed, I didn't really know a lot about autism. So I had to learn a lot, and I got really frustrated just researching everything. There's a lot of people with opinions online. So I initially just was going to write a book about things we did that helped her immediately. Like, no question, we did it and it helped her. As I was writing it, though, I started to realize there were a lot of good things that came out of the autism diagnosis. And I felt it was really important to share that as well, especially because there's a lot of hard days and hard nights for parents that are dealing with, especially children that are level 3 autism, and really wanted to share as well, not only what helped us, but what are a lot of the good things that came out of the diagnosis, not only for my daughter, but for my whole family.
Makes sense. When you said level 3, I don't know the multiple levels. What is level 3? Kind of explain to those like myself who have no idea what that means. Level 3, what does that indicate exactly?
Sure. Yeah, level 3 is like the most extreme. They also call it profound autism.
Okay.
Typically, like, every case of autism is still different, but like some similarities in level 3 might be like non-speaking, non-verbal, hard time adjusting, to new things, loud noises, a lot of like stimming where, you're doing a repeated action. So things more like that, harder to function, especially outside of the house.
In public settings and stuff.
Definitely, yes.
Okay. I'm assuming that there's some issues with sleep patterns and things of that nature as well, too. Is that indicative of level 3?
Yes. Yeah. One of the things I wrote about in the book, actually, because the sleep was the first thing that actually went away when we first started to notice something was wrong. So couldn't get her to go to bed at night. Like, she'd stay up till 10, 11, 12. If we got her to go to sleep, she'd sleep for 2 hours max. And that was like best case scenario. She'd be up, want to go downstairs. Like, and that was really the first kind of sign something was wrong. We've actually made tons of progress in her sleep. And that was like one of the most exciting things about like what we did to help her, was seeing that progress. But yeah, sleep was a nightmare, probably the first 18 months.
I love your I don't know how to put this. I guess I just love you guys' heart in the goal of the book. I think you said, I don't know if you said your exact words, and I want to misquote you, but you said, if something we did could help just one parent finally get 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and every hard moment would be worth it. Can you speak to that just a little bit real quick? Because I think that's profound, man, because there's so much that goes on in the world of people who are dealing with autism, but that was just so thoughtful, man, that you wanted to help people get there, because you recognize, the cost that people pay to deal with this, man. But you can speak to it.
Yeah. Yeah. The cost is crazy for any parent dealing with autism. And the way we got sleep corrected originally wasn't that expensive. So, like, long story short, my wife, this concept of earthing or grounding, and it's that the earth has natural energy. So, like, walking around barefoot can help your body heal inflammation, a lot of other benefits for you. I read a book on it because I thought it sounded kind of crazy. And after I read the book, it was called Earthing. The book was called Earthing. I was like, you know what? I got to at least try it. So we bought like they sell them on Amazon. It was like a grounding mattress pad that you put on the bed. The first night we did it, she slept 6 hours straight, and that continued. Like, it never went away. So, like, we
Wow.
started getting 6 hours of sleep every night just by a $50 grounding mat on Amazon, and really opened my eyes and made me change my perspective on like a lot of stuff in general, especially around healing.
No, that's pretty that's astounding, man. As men, and we talk about this kind of stuff on our roundtable, and of course on the spotlight here. As men, we're often expected to have answers and fix stuff, be the fixers. What what changed with you that help you realize there was no quick fix for what your family was dealing with? How'd you handle that as a man?
It was really hard at first, and especially when you realize that no one's coming to save your child. Like, as the
Mm,
parents, like, it's really up to you to first determine what's best for them and then really find out what works for them. Um, I think a lot of just research and figuring out, like, there's not a one size fits all for my child. And what really changed my perspective was just learning to celebrate small wins and making a big deal out of things. For the seven other kids, like, I didn't care when they put their shoes on, but just changing my perspective to start celebrating small things, it just changed everything for me and made me just appreciate things a lot more. And I think took a lot of the pressure off of, like, she needs to be at this by age 7, this by age 8, and just,
mm.
appreciate the journey a lot more than just worrying about like big milestones.
No, that's that kind of appreciation of small things, man. We could all benefit from that as a community, as a nation, as a world, without question. One of the things that I know, like, I've experienced as a husband and a father, there are times where we get to the point where we hit that wall of exhaustion, and then somehow it leads into isolation. I don't know how that happens, but it definitely does happen. It's definitely a clear path. What would you say was the darkest part of the journey for you, where it kind of put you in that spot as a husband and a father? If you can highlight that real quick for us.
Yeah, for me, the darkest part was I would pray over every night, and I originally the question I would always ask is like, why May,
Mm,
like, why is she dealing with this? And I got an answer one night praying, and it was a very brief answer without any context. So it was basically, you would have killed yourself. And
mm,
I have a history of like a mental illness in my family. So my mom was schizophrenic, and I'm like, oh, I've made it to like this point in my life without, like, ever attempting suicide. And so that stuck with me for a while because I didn't really know what it meant, and I just kept praying and seeking. And then I'll never forget, it was like a year later of praying over her, and it was, heard God's voice, never said suicide, it was through your health. And that also was a big change on my perspective, because everything we've done for my daughter, we've implemented as a family. And so, like, my health has changed radically as a result. And that was the biggest shift for me overall, because I really, that's when the appreciation started to grow for like what we've been through. Because we do, like, we'll try things out for her. It may not work for her, but there might be a benefit for me and my wife. Like, one of the things I've incorporated daily is a sauna, which we originally got for her to help,
Oh, okay.
we might help her sleep. But for me, it's been mentally, doing 30 minutes of the sauna every day has been so good for me. But it was really, that was the darkest moment, was carrying that around, not knowing, like, is something going to happen that's so bad that, like, without a special needs child, I would have contemplated suicide, or
Hmm.
just that unknowing of, like, something bad is going to happen in the future. So that was just a hard time for me overall.
Yeah. I mean, men, it's not just men, really, to be honest with you, but I'm speaking to men today. We deal with those foreboding thoughts, those big, what feels like big, heavy feelings that nobody else can understand. But you talked about something that I want to get into. We talk about masculinity and leadership and legacy on this show and on our Roundtable Series podcast on Thursday nights. But a lot of men suffer in silence, and I know that you're so focused on your child. You said it was May, right? You focus on your child, and you have to often
Yes.
neglect you. What do you think this experience with autism kind of taught you about strength and kind of being present that you probably had wrong before this situation started?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it was more about just enjoying the time you spend with your kids, and it doesn't have to be, you know, going out to places, et cetera. Just spending time, quality time, like what quality time is with them. I think that was one. Um, and just again, that appreciation of spending time together as a family, is, my favorite thing to do now. Like, maybe I enjoyed it before, but my goal now in life is to just spend as much time with my family as possible, and really just appreciate kind of everything we go through as a family. So it totally changed, what I thought of as success. I would have defined success very differently before. Now it's like I just want to spend as much time with them as possible. So that was the biggest change overall. Um, I think that's it. It was just wanting to spend as much time with them, and just, regardless of what it is, doesn't have to be, going somewhere exciting. It could be just playing outside, playing catch, or going for a walk. I've just started to appreciate those things a lot more.
Love that, Paul. I want to take the time to ask you a few more questions if I can get them in. When your children kind of look back on this season, like years from now, what do you hope they get from watching what you walk through? I know that, your youngest may not have the same perspective that your other 7 children do, but what do you hope that they gain from watching you on this journey as a father, as
Yeah,
a leader, and as a role model? What do you want them to gain?
Yeah, I think first would be perseverance, knowing that, just because a medical report says something doesn't mean it's the ultimate authority on how things turn out long term.
That's good.
2, I think learning to question, like, everything, right? Like, just because somebody tells you something, like, you really need to form your own opinion and do research on things without just taking it with a grain of salt. Um, I would say third is just, you know, your health is the most important thing you have. Like, that's something that we've really learned throughout this as well. So, continuing to take care of their body, their mind, and just appreciating your body, treating it, like it is a temple, and not being reckless in decisions with, how you treat your body.
Stuff, man. Just a couple more questions for you, Paul. Is there one thing I know you mentioned? I'm thinking for more because this is encouraging me, and I want to get all I can from this conversation. You mentioned how your youngest is starting to sleep better because of some changes that you made. Is there anything else that you see? And this is for those who may be watching who may have or have access to that resource that you use to help her sleep a little better. Is there something else that you see that's encouraging? Something that maybe you didn't see before? A sign that she's doing better. She's she's growing in specific areas that she wasn't before. It's something that's encouraging to you, that may be encouraging to the listener. You can share.
Sure. I'd say two things, and one
Okay.
was, again, I had to change my perspective on things. So she wouldn't walk on her own. Like, she could walk, but she had
Oh wow.
anxiety. So like going to the store or even a
Oh
walk around the block, she make us carry her. Like, it's fine when she's, you know, 3, but at like 5, like she's getting heavy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we we had 2 specialists recommend CBD spray, and I was like, "No way." Like, I thought it was like, I'm not giving her marijuana. Like, I thought it was literally the same thing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Um, and we gave her CBD spray. The first time we gave it to her, she walked on her own. And so, like, that was just, again, like, my perspective. And I don't care if people, like, adults smoke weed. I just was like, I don't want to give it to my 4-year-old. Um, but she started walking around the block fine, and like everywhere would walk on her own by giving her CBD spray. So again, something that wasn't that expensive, and we saw progress there. The other thing, like, we've been doing with her, because she's non-speaking, nonverbal, is we have a letter board where she can spell and point to letters, and it's been amazing to see.
Mm.
My wife will do like a lesson with her. You'll think, she'll be looking the other way, like tapping on a book, not paying attention. But when she goes to spell the word that my wife asks her to spell, she's able to spell it. So, like, if I was looking somewhere else distracted and you're talking to me, like, there's no way I'd be able to bring in that information and spell a word. And so seeing her do that has also been just really encouraging. And then there's moments like where she just like makes eye contact with you. Hard to explain, but she'll make eye contact with you, and like, she's in there, and like, that is like the best. It's always brief, but we have seen progress. And my goal, like, we knew she wasn't born with autism, so my goal is to heal her from it.
That's awesome. Wow. One final question. There's so much meat on the bone, but we're out of time. But I want to ask you just one question that you can speak to our audience. We got husbands, fathers, brothers, and sons that are listening to us on a regular basis, or on replay, or live. If there's a father that's listening right now who's exhausted like you were, who's overwhelmed like you were, who are perhaps maybe they're breaking under the weight of the responsibility of this, or just the frustration of not having answers. You got a chance to talk to the man to man, but you're doing it to all of them that's listening today. What are you going to say to them, Paul? What would you share?
Yeah, first thing I would say is write down everything, because you'll have those moments where you feel like life is a mess and it's not getting better. But writing those things down, especially the small wins, like, go back and read those, because it'll really help your perspective when you have those down moments. I'm not going to pretend like, yeah, there's going to be awful parts, and like, as the dad, you have to push through it. Your kids are relying on you. You got to push through it, and just keep reminding yourself of the areas that you do see wins. And again, it might take a perspective change, right? Like, you may have other kids that you didn't care when they put their shoes on, or you started using a fork. You got to shift your mindset, and just know that if your child is struggling with those things and they start doing it, like, that's big for them, because every kid's different. And yeah, especially if they're on the spectrum. So it's just writing everything down, and then reminding yourself when you have those bad moments that you are in a better spot than you were prior.
But thank you for coming in here and sharing this incredible story. It is indeed incredible. I'm excited and encouraged to hear the progress your daughter's making, man. Even the progress you're making, man, as a husband and a father. And you're not leading into the dark sides of history, if you will. You're pushing forward into the light, man. And I'm honored to have met you, man, and hear this story. I hope that our paths cross again, either on social media, or even more personally than that, man. But thanks for being here, man, and being a part of this conversation, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Pleasure's mine. If you guys are watching and listening for the very first time, thanks for making us part of your week. Paul's website is up on the screen, autismsucks.org. Not hard to remember that one. Pretty easy. Autismsucks.org. And his book, Autism Sucks, Finding Hope in the Chaos. I'm sure it's available where all book retailers are, where books are sold. But thanks again for listening and watching. If you have any questions for myself or Paul after the broadcast is over, you can DM me privately, or you can find him autismsucks.org, or reach out to me and I'll connect you to him. I'm sure we'll be connecting on social media, hopefully. But thanks again, Paul, and thanks again for you guys watching and listening. This has been a fantastic journey into what life is like for people who are dealing with autism. Hope it was a blessing to you. This is where men rebuild from the inside out. The Men's Interview Spotlight. Have a great day. Thanks for watching and listening.
Men's Roundtable Series, step inside. Real men, real faith, where the truths collide. Voices at the table where the stories get shared. Welcome to the Men's Roundtable, pull up a chair.